Hello, this is Tara, and this is You Should Write a Book, the podcast. This segment is in my series Stroke of Genius, a memoir. And today I will diving into some things that I have learned out about my condition, aphasia. Before I do, if you're watching this on my YouTube channel, please like the video and to subscribe to the channel. This is how YouTube learns how, not whether it's good things that it should advertise to other people. And if you've seen this on one of my Facebook posts, please like those posts. Thank you. I thought I wanted to talk about some of the things that you might have noticed about my speech. Second, that how affects me in writing sentences. And third, how the brain learns language. And fourth, my process of becoming fluent in a new language. In my case, I have no difficulty comprehending neither what I have heard, either someone speaking or in a book, or what I have read. All of my thoughts are clear and as the same way than the same before the stroke. When I wake up, I just think normal, like I've always been. And it's not until I speak I remember that I have a language problem because of aphasia, and that makes me sad. I have a figuring way of explanation some of the examples. If I to speak the word very, my brain translates the word of. It is because it begins the word v sound. And if I don't catch the mistake, I will just say of instead of very, believing that I've already said it correctly. People have noticed that my speech has improved, and it is because sometimes I'm better at correcting the mistakes faster, but they are still happening in my brain. That instant correction leads to this halting speaking, and it is exhausted. This is that I can get quite tired after speaking for some period of time, and I'm better in the mornings than in the evening. My brain decides that it has no more words. Another example of what is when I lose words. So yes, I understand that every one of the people our age of me, we all lose words sometimes. But it happens to me all the time. And in a conversation, the only way I can explain it is when I'll be in the middle of a sentence and I know what I want to just say in the sentence. And the word is a white box. It's gone. It's just blank. Sometimes I'm learning to try and figure of thinking a relating word, but sometimes I can't find a related word. Early after the stroke, someone asked who the prime minister was, and it wasn't that I didn't know who it was, I just couldn't think of the words. But somehow I came up with Pierre, who is, of course, the father of the prime minister, Justin Trudeau. And Pierre was also the Prime Minister of Canada in the 1970s when I was growing up. It was the closest my brain could to get the answer that I knew. I knew what he looked like. I knew what his politics are. I just couldn't have Justin Trudeau's name was gone. I found I am my fluent in speech when I'm now in topics that I'm most familiar in, subjects that I know really, really well. Some of the subjects that I've spoken about, topics that cover about my things like the marriage program that I've done. When I talk about them, I'm very fluent. If I have conversations that include new information or even talking about new experiences since the stroke, I glitch more often. I'm not sure I feel about that. I could still have the ability to talk about the Bible and preaching more than I can talk about some other common topics. I'm not sure how I feel about that. But all of that information is still in my brain. Now, I'll talk about how I am learning about new language. Babies acquire language at most portions of all of the brain. All babies use some portions, like called the Broca part of your brain. It is a big part of how infants acquire language skills required to learning communicate. This is the part of my brain that is injured. It is the Broca region of my brain. All of my still acquired language that I learned very young, I have to learn some of those relearns, some of the language that I always had as a child. So this process for me, it is like learning a new language in a foreign tongue. Imagine that you are an English person and in your 20s decide to learn Greek. I only said Greek because in Canada we would tend to do French, and we have some French in part of our language, and in the United States you would have Spanish, but Greek is not a common second language that someone in North America is trying to learn. When you're learning Greek, you'll learn some of the vocabulary, and you will learn some common phrases, and eventually you will begin to learn the sentence structure. Now, then imagine that you are the only person who speaks this language and that it's the only language that you know. So you've lost English. Now you're learning this new language, and you can only speak it. You can't cheat for an hour and go speaking English with your friends. This is it, is this broken Greek. So now you're imagine in Greece, only with a few words and common phrases, and the locals can't really understand you very easily. And they try to be kind, but it is really annoying to listen to you as you're not fluent. And even more sadly, you might stay in this state forever, struggling to fully communicate with anyone. You will just always ever had that broken Greek. A friend of me told me that he has learned French and had some fluency, and he considered that he was bilingual when he had become he was dreaming in French. Last night I dreamt in my choppy, garbled, and unfluid speech that I have learning. I think this shows that now I am bilingual. But I'm bilingual in a language that no one else knows but me. And in a language that I don't want to be fluent in. My goal is to be fluent in my original language, in the one that I learned in my very childhood. My goal is to able to speak beautiful like I used to, and to write fluently and expressively and entertainingly, so that you would like to enjoy the right things that I like, and that it will bring them to pleasure. I live in hope that I will go back to having those skills soon. I thank you. Thank you for taking the time with me. Thank you for my friends for loving me. And we'll talk to you again very soon. Bye.